Who would like to recap?
Well, I can throw it down. Do we have the recording started?
Affirmative.
Okay, then yeah, I can throw it down. Last session, we had tied up a bunch of loose ends, and we were pulling the whole "where do we go next" card. When we pulled the whole "where do we go next" card, it led us to, it rather reminded us that we had told a certain barber that we would keep an eye out for a villain by the name of Arkhan. Arkhan, I believe his name was. I'm not 100%. Was that his name?
Arkhan, yeah.
Arkhan. We just said the heck with it and started driving up to his castle. As we got there, we saw that there was a whole lot of undead and everything milling around. Basically, dude has an entire army in a tower, and he's got a big old dragon flying around the tower. I'm trying to remember what kind of dragon. I'm looking in my notes. It was white, but I don't remember age. I mean, presumably adult size. We didn't get really an age. Once they reach adult, it's kind of hard to tell between adult worm or great worm.
It is definitely an adult.
As in adult age, or as in adult, it's a grown up.
As an adult, it's a grown up.
Okay, but beyond the fact that we know it's an adult, we don't know. Okay. He alerted the Turtle priest or whatever to come out and greet us. We realized that these people worshipped Tiamat, so Boston was like, heck with that, throw down. Threw out the illusion of Tiamat around him, the whole thing, put on a show. In the middle of trying to pay veneration to all of this, it was explained that the person that we were seeking... Well, first off, we successfully delivered the story of Tiamat's not the evil monster that she always was. And Troll's response was, there was somebody else here who was telling us that as well. The wildfire druid, I believe, that was a member of Tiamat's party, has apparently already made a visit here. We were informed that if we wanted to interact with Arkhan, we needed to go find something to increase his horde. Upon finding said object, we would be able to meet up with him. Krull did explain that he wasn't here currently. So when we left, we were like, well, we'll figure out where to meet up with him. When we left, we came upon, crap, it was a giant, but I don't remember. Well, he's not a giant anymore, but I don't remember the. Was it Uldrak? Yes, Uldrak's grave. Is that correct, Jaime? Uldrak?
Yes.
I've got a stack of names written here under no real. I got a Drev. I got Uldrak. I don't know who most of these people are, but Uldrak's grave is where a Titan fell, standing against Tiamat. And said giant we thought was done for. Turns out he had been turned into not a chain devil, but a spike devil. He had been planning to use a magic item he had there to parlay with Arkhan so that he could be turned back into his normal self. We told him, well, we need your magic object because we want to parlay with Arkhan, so it's all kind of perfect. If you want to come with us, we'll take the orb. I made him sort of swear on honor to not, like, he's not going to worship Tiamat no matter how hard I try. He's a giant. He even called out, like, you really want a giant to worship a dragon? That's not going to happen. But I sort of opened his eyes to the preachings of the obsidian dragon, onyx dragon?
Obsidian
dragon. So there are considerations there. On our way back, we were left with me attuning to this orb, which had a whole lot of stuff go on. First off, it cast a Gaius upon me. We now have a new side mission to go rescue the unicorn from the bug zapper, from the demon zapper. And Boston is pretty adamant about it. In fact, Boston would probably spend the whole way back to Arkhan's tower going, we should hit the bug zapper first. You know, deal with that problem, then we can go deal with Arkhan. And like, I would be going out of my way to try to push it upon the party that we need to do the Demon Zapper first. With any luck, especially since we don't know where Arkhan is. With any luck, by the time we're done dealing with the Demon Zapper, Arkhan's at home. Of course, if he's at home, he's got an entire army there, so if we do decide we have to fight him, we've got to deal with his army. If we go back to deal with him now and go face him wherever he's at, things go good, great. Things go terrible, at least he's separated from his army. So that's kind of where we left it off. And yeah, Boston's throwing that out to the party, like, this is what I want to do. More than this is what I want to do. When Boston kind of approaches the party as we're rolling back towards Arkhan's tower, he would very much like, first off, he'd come in the room wearing a poncho. This like canvas poncho that's going to run all the way to the ground. He's going to, you know, it's decorative with using flavor magic to color it all up or whatever. But dude suddenly looks like a hobo wandering around in a desert village, or like if you've seen the Star Trek movies, the desert planet of Nimbus, like that's what he looks like. And the smell is off because whoever attuned to the thing received detrimental properties, and one of the detrimental properties was a stink that he can't get rid of so long as he's attuned to the thing. And I've thought long and hard about how to roleplay this stench. And the best way to do this stench, to base it off dragons, is Dragon's Breath. Except Dragon's Breath is not necessarily what he has. Like, yes, Boston's breath stinks, but it permeates all around him. Almost like a black dragon's breath, because that comes from a swamp, and that's very gassy. And so that's sort of what I picture for this smell. And I know 14 different flavor spells. So Boston has literally just spent the last 20 minutes after attuning using Druidcraft to bring on the smell of flowers, and Thaumaturgy to create a slight breeze around him so that the smell of flowers actually moves around and circulates the air. And like the whole list. If I can burn a flavor spell on trying to get rid of the smell, I'm gonna, knowing full well that because it's a magical property sort of situation, I'm not actually gonna be able to fully cover it up. And so I've been thinking for weeks what a smell would smell like if it smelled like swamp gas that was trying to be covered up by flowers. And do you know what I came up with? Dirty hippies that smell like patchouli. Because I fully see Boston looking and smelling like a Woodstock dirty hippie. Especially once he has attuned to this orb.
Wow.
That's all fine and dandy, but to be honest with you, I don't know what patchouli is.
The long and short is it's a smell that was placed that was supposed to be more potent than marijuana, and it stinks in its own accord, but most of the people that are around patchouli think it smells great.
Okay.
And in reality, it never successfully covered up the marijuana smell, and thusly you got that weird hippie smell, even if it wasn't a hippie.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why it's associated with stoners. And so yeah, Boston would come out smelling like patchouli. He would straight up explain that's one of the many downsides that are one of the likely downsides he expects to find from attuning to this orb. He would explain the power of the orb, but again, crux the downsides, and basically offer it to the party. Like he snatched it up and attuned to it to figure out what it was because he's the spellcasting character. So imagine Gandalf with the plant here. Like, he's totally like, no, keep it secret, keep it safe. But on the other hand, he's kind of scared of this orb. So he's offering it to the party in-game, because out-of-game, I never really gave anybody else any chance to claim whether they would want this orb or not. Positives and negatives aside. So in-game, I'm creating the opportunity first off. Does anybody else want this orb?
Good.
Keith? Nope, I'm good. You guys would.
For no other reason than it makes me smell.
Yeah, oh no, I agree. Your character from moment one was like at the very beginning of us role playing, you were like, I need to learn prestidigitation just to keep myself clean constantly.
Yep.
So I respect that the smell is a reason to avoid it. Okay, then yeah, Boston would then use the natural ability because his leveling item. My leveling item's basic ability is to make other magic items I attune fit the theme of how I am of my clothing. All my magical items roll into a theme so long as I'm attuned to them. And this particular one, the orb, which can normally resize anyways, though normally it doesn't resize this small, resizes itself to like a bell on my collar.
Wait, I do have a question. Can you force attune an object onto another character?
No.
Okay, then yeah, I don't want it.
Yeah, no. And orbs of Dragonkind are also semi-sentient, so every time I try to use its power, which at the end of last session we rolled to see, I rolled because of the attunement, but you don't actually have to roll because of the attunement. You roll when you use the power once per day. And basically the semi-sentient nature of the orb can take over the person if I fail that check. Which is the other big downside. But I feel like even though Boston is attuned to the item, and theoretically that means he knows that's a downside, for roleplay purposes, I'm going to roleplay that Boston doesn't know he could lose himself to this orb. He hasn't really, like, acknowledged that that's a real possibility.
From hubris or from ignorance?
A little bit of both. So, like, Boston's got a wisdom score of 12 and an intelligence score of 12. Like, he's not a very insightful person. He's barely above average when it comes to being insightful. So he might genuinely think it's not a threat. And at the same time, he might genuinely not even feel it begin creeping upon his consciousness because his insight is so low. So I feel like him being surprised by it, if it happens, would be a much more straightforward roleplay of that, since I'm an airhead, basically. But yeah, in that case, since everybody is like, no, you go ahead and keep that smelly ass thing, my mindset is Demon Zapper. I technically, it was who was driving? It wasn't Druzzl. It was because he's manning a spear.
It was
last time we saw him,
wasn't it?
huh?
Wasn't it Krickendorf?
Krickendorf is navigating. It was either Gilwyn, or because Gilwyn has survival and wisdom and all that shit ranked high up, being helped by Krickendorf and the elephant, or it was Donal, because Donal was just like the side character that was in the background. But I would go up to whoever's driving and be like, so I think we need to check out the Demon Zapper. When all this first started, we were warned to go either to the spawning trees or the Demon Zapper. We have completely forgot about the Demon Zapper. I think we need to go deal with it, and I think we need to go deal with it right now.
I don't inherently see a problem with that. Did I lose you guys?
No, I'm just waiting for the group to come to a consensus. You said you don't see a problem with it. I still need a weigh-in from Donal, and I need a weigh-in from Keith. But I'm also, like I said, of the mentality that out of game, there would be a good reason to do the Demon Zapper second or first. So it's really like I need an out-of-game opinion from either one of you and or an in-game opinion from both of you. What do you think, Druzzl?
I don't think Druzzl cares.
You're still of the mindset, go where the monsters are?
Kind of.
And derailing from the current quote-unquote plan to Boston just randomly being like, I want to go deal with this instead. That wouldn't affect, but we're already in the middle of hunting these bad guys or whatever. That wouldn't bother you? Unfinished business or whatever mentality?
No.
Okay. What about you, Fick?
Doesn't bother me.
Okay. Jaime, does Denal have an opinion on whether we head straight back to Arkhan's Tower or whether we hit the Demon Zapper first?
The unicorn is a sacred animal. He feels that there is value in rescuing it.
I kind of feel like Gilwyn would have the same mentality as a druid. Okay, then Boston would sort of inform the party, well, remember, like, I would name out the strategy of it. Like, if we go deal with this now, Arkhan may be back here with his army when we come back to him next.
We don't intend to, like, our intention, whether that happens or not, is not to go and fight in this guy, so we should proceed under peaceful...
Our intention is that he is a bad guy. We know he is a bad guy. Our intention is hopefully to make him a good guy because he worships Tiamat. But knowing that that is a slim chance, like, keep that in mind. Our intentions may be irrelevant. Like, this guy we know for certain is a bad guy. He may want to fight us just on principle. So, do we want him to have access to his army or potentially have access to his army? And that would sort of be Boston's reminder to the group. But the group has decided, so yeah, Denal and Crickendalt, or Gilwyn and Crickendalt, should roll their navigation checks.
While we're on our way to the bug zapper, we should come up with a plan to neutralize the army first before we encounter him. Like, kind of as a background conversation.
You have a plan to take out hundreds of enemies, like a whole army? Because I don't know how to take out a whole army.
No, but we don't necessarily have to take them out if we can find a weakness that we can use to neutralize them.
They're an army of undead in hell. Like, even if they were summoned by a necromancer, we kill the necromancer, it's hell. It's going to maintain them as being these undead creatures.
Open a portal to heaven?
I don't have that kind of power, do you?
Maybe.
Both of us do in a roleplay sense, but not in a mechanical sense. That's all I'm saying. In a mechanical sense, at the moment, I cannot see a way to deal with the army. Which is why, do we want to? My argument was, do we want to deal with him with the army or without the army? So, and we also don't know. We might finish the Demon Zapper, and he might still be gone. You know, we don't know what he was doing. True. We just know he wasn't there. And that Krull was going to tell us where to take said, or to meet with him, should we bring an item of value. So, but all right, to the Demon Zapper.
All right. Navigation check was successful. Let me. Like there. How is there not an image of it? I know there's one in the book.
Of the Demon Zapper?
Yeah. Isn't there?
I have no idea. I don't recognize that one. I'm guessing, since it's a dungeon that holds a unicorn, there's probably a map, but I don't know about a picture.
It's actually an exterior thing.
Oh. Did an image search of the demon zapper, and the damn thing looks like a scarab beetle sticking up out of rock.
Yep. I knew that there was an image.
Yeah, well, I just did a Google image search. Ooh, there's a couple of cool ones.
Okay.
I shared one in Discord.
Okay, that'll work.
Looks like something out of the game Chrono Trigger.
Kinda, especially
Right.
with the way that it's oriented.
If any game needs a remake, it's that one. That might be my favorite game of all time.
My request on that one would be to wait until we have full dive. It'd be much
Yeah.
better.
Yeah, I want to see a full dive of that one.
That would be interesting. God, can you imagine the games that are going to come out when we do get full dive?
Hey, you never know, man. Disney invented the holodeck floor that they just revealed it a couple weeks ago. Disney invented the floor to the holodeck. The ground is like 1-inch tiles that are weirdly mobile so that you can stand in position and start walking. And as long as they're unlocked so that you're walking, like, you'll walk in place. You won't actually walk forward.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and they straight up they asked the guy that was doing the reveal of this technology what the purpose of this technology was. Is he literally goes, I have no idea, but it's really cool. He's like, he straight up was like, I have no idea what we're gonna use this for. This is the dawn of AR video gaming. You do AR walls, all 4 walls of the room you're in with this on the floor. You don't need to have a visor showing you what you're dealing with. You know, the scanner is showing you that you're central to the room, so the cameras on the walls modify to match that. He's like, that's my first thought, but honestly, I have no idea. This is new technology.
I'm waiting for an actual omnidirectional treadmill.
That's
They have-
basically the start of this technology.
Don't they have?
Kind
Not-
of.
I could have swore I read something like the one from the movie Ready Player One exists now.
Kind of.
I didn't look into it, but I could have swore I saw something to that effect.
Alright.
But to be honest, the one that Disney just produced sounds way cooler.
Right?
Okay, so Radiant light cascades from a rusted metal monument shaped like the upraised mandibles of a giant beetle. There is a 10-foot diameter sphere of magical force that hangs between the ends of the spikes, or of the mandibles. Uh, 50 feet off the, or easily hovering 50 feet off the ground.
All right. Is there... Wait. I would start looking for an entrance or signs of a unicorn.
Fair enough. There it goes. Really? They're classifying that? Okay. Go ahead and roll a perception check for me.
Oh.
Me.
Okay.
Because I said I was looking for signs.
11.
Okay. With an 11, you don't really see any signs of a unicorn. A little tiny demon. Let's see. What's a good tiny demon? You know what? We'll do one of the demon chickens.
I was about to say abyssal chickens or the mephits or whatever.
Yep. An abyssal chicken just kind of starts running up to the demon zapper. It looks almost like it's the singular objective. And once it reaches about 100 feet away from it, a bolt of light discharges from the sphere, and the abyssal chicken is now a pile of ash.
Anyone for KFC?
Not anymore with their prices and low quality food. I'd rather go to Popeyes.
All right, well, then anyone for Popeye's chicken?
I'm down.
Wow, I just realized you guys couldn't hear a word I was saying because my mic was turned up. I'm going to roll Arcana to identify what the orb just did.
Okay.
What kind of orb has the power to just auto-target frickin' demons that fly closer to it? Because I want that. 24.
All right. With an Arcana check, you can tell that this is property of the zapper itself. Basically, this structure is designed to take holy energy, holy energy, specifically likely from some type of celestial, and
So this device is channeling the unicorn somehow.
Yep.
Most likely.
Very likely. And then it targets the nearest fiend within 100 feet.
Crickendalt, stay back. I don't think it's... and about the time I turn around, he's probably looking at the chickens that are running towards it. And I don't even I put my hand on his chest, and I tell him to keep an eye on our chickens. And I tell... Denal? No. Denal and Lulu. No, Lulu, the... shit. We have two devils with us. You said fiends. You didn't say it zaps demons. You said it zaps fiends. I do not want Aldrak the devil or Crickendalt the devil or any of our friendly chickens to be attracted to this giant bug zapper. I suddenly have the image now that the reason the creature was running at it is much the same way as like moth to a flame or the electric bug zapper hanging on your back porch. And yeah, I immediately I'm gonna look at Denal and Lulu and be like, restrain those guys if I see them start to move. If they're not moving, I'm not worried about it. But yeah, keep them away from that 100-foot marker.
They both nod. And they do their best to make sure that all of your chickens and Crickendalt are restrained.
The humanoid-sized people that you just mentioned, I'll tie them down for good measure.
You just run through with a rope, start stringing them up.
I don't even run through. I just walk through it, and I'll give them the cocked eyebrows, give me your hand. You know why I'm doing this. Type of look.
Just daisy chain them all to each other.
Yep.
And tie that to the vehicle.
Vehicle. Yep. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Oh, I'm sorry. Multiple questions before we go too much farther, so I write it down. Zar, how many hours did it take us to get here from where we were?
I'll say 2.
Okay. All right. I kind of look at you, Fick, and say, in principle, the design works. The device channels a celestial that's strapped in it somewhere. The power of a celestial. That power acts as a beacon, summons fiends, zaps them 100 feet out. In principle, I don't want to destroy this. It's a really good thing. On the other hand, it's powered, presumably, by a unicorn held against its will. Do we have any celestial power sources that would volunteer in our friends, in our favor zone, in our whatever? Do we have any celestial power sources we can volunteer to keep this thing running?
Too bad I'm not looking for a way to leave the game.
I mean, Cirque is an Azamar.
I don't know that Cirque would volunteer to be a
battery.
A battery for a weapon like that, yeah.
Probably not.
I do have the ability. I can. Out of game, I have a roleplay loophole that may work here to keep it powered. Not a mechanical loophole, an actual roleplay loophole. Familiars. When you get a familiar, they're either a celestial, a fiend, or a fae. You pick that. Now that said, it's regardless of what you summon, they're celestial, a fiend, or a fae. So if I summon an imp for a familiar, I can summon a celestial imp.
That's a weird visual.
It is a weird visual, but all of my imps, I've said from day one, are celestial. Because they're just like my chicken, who was a celestial chicken. The first abyssal creature I had, or rather non-celestial creature I had, was the abyssal chicken. So all of the imps that my imp familiar has in his union of imps draw their power from him, so they're celestial imps as well. An imp is probably not powerful enough to power this thing. However, if an entire workforce of celestial imps are here, maybe it turns into like an actual like power plant. So I relay that all to my imp while I'm that this is sort of my idea while I'm brainstorming how we're gonna get this the current person that's in there out without destroying it. Which, to be fair, guys, it's possible we may just have to destroy it.
It's the Speed Force problem.
It is the Speed Force problem. I've been thinking that the whole time. It's the Wally West trapped in the Speed Force to maintain the Speed Force mentality. That ultimately ended up being Barry in the trap, not Wally, but yeah. Druzzl, do you have any opinions on this structure?
It's just that we need to get the unicorn out.
Do you guys see signs of where the unicorn might be stored in the thing? Because all it is a metal structure with a giant glowing light at the top, as far as I can see.
Well, maybe we need to start smashing in some walls.
Well, the walls are just stone around the metal structure. So we got to be careful smashing until we know we're not going to destroy the overall thing, or know if we should destroy the overall thing. Out of game, I'm looking for somebody besides me to make fucking perception checks, guys. I've already looked. I saw nothing. I need someone else to look for potential entrances or signs of the unicorn.
Give me a second, I'm pulling it up now. If I remember right, I'm fairly good at perception. Oh, yeah. +9 works.
Yeah, that would be nice.
For a nat 20.
Nat 20. Does he see any way into the structure or where the frickin' unicorn might be so that we could release the unicorn without destroying it? In fact, a release device.
Let's see. So the structure itself isn't actually a tower that you can walk into. It's just a giant, basically rusted beetle is what it looks like. The unicorn, you absolutely identify. You can see its silhouette barely inside the sphere.
Oh, it's the orb itself. Vic, what is your Arcana skill?
+5.
+5. Given that he can make out if he squints his eyes or whatever, what's going on up at the orb level. Can I ask him? I'm going to ask him to try to identify a release mechanism. Can he roll, because of his nat 20, can he roll his Arcana with advantage to find a release mechanism to see if there would even be one?
Yes, you may.
Vic, roll me an Arcana with advantage, sir.
21.
Can he see any way to release it other than destroying the structure?
You cannot.
Damn.
Wait, let me clarify that. I cannot see a way, or I can see that there is not a way.
I see no reason to specify.
So at the moment, you can't spot a way.
Right.
Do you relay what you've discovered to us?
Oh, absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely.
I look at the dwarf and I say, not to be racist, but your people are known for building and smashing. Can you think of a way that we can interrupt that flow? I like to pretend I know a thing or two about artifice, but this enchantment might be a little out of my wheelhouse. Can you think of a way to separate it without, whatever? Out of game.
Give me a minute.
I think you can make a stone cunning history check
Yeah.
as your version of our arcana check.
Unfortunately, my stone cunning history is the same as Arcana, so I'm trying to see if I have any reason to roll it under a different ability. Did I not put my backstory in here? What is wrong with me? Hold a bit longer, please. Too many pieces of information in too many different places.
While you're
I mean, I'll
observing,
try.
or while you've been observing it, a minute has passed since the last time it zapped a demon, and you can actually see that the orb almost gets brighter.
Charges back up.
Yep.
I'm going to assume I don't see that, but one of these guys with a high perception or a decent passive perception probably, in how you worded it, a minute has passed. Is it safe for those with the high perception to assume that that thing can only fire 1 minute or one shot every minute?
Yes.
Okay. Boston didn't catch that, but you guys did, so.
Okay. Well, I'm going to use Stone Cunning, even though it's the same, and try to see if I can see something with the stonework that might indicate.
Well, with stone cunning, you can actually look back in dwarven lore to objects like this.
Oh, I like that better.
Yeah, stone cunning covers the history of stonework, period. And in this case, obviously it would apply to steelwork too, but that's what it's designed for. Architecture. You look at a device, or not a device, it's not normally a device, you look at a structure and go, well, in this culture, or that culture, it had this purpose, that purpose, or this one. And in that culture, the way you would trip it is this. But in this culture, the way you would trip it is that. So that's kind of the stone cunning approach.
Okay. I want to do what he said.
You're Daniel Jackson.
Yeah, isn't stone cunning just a boost to history?
It
I don't know how it works for dwarves in 5e. I've never played a dwarf in 5e.
Would you like me to read it?
Please.
Okay. It says, whenever you make an intelligence history check related to the origin of stonework, you are considered proficient in the history skill and add double your proficiency bonus to the check.
Oh.
Oh.
So it's actually going to probably be higher than you thought it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's auto proficiency at double the proficiency when dealing with structures.
Which is hilarious because I'm proficient in history. So if it's dealing with structures and stones, I'm even better at history.
Yeah.
All right.
So
can I
his
do?
dwarven knowledge let him know of a? Can he? Is this a check he can make?
Yes.
You don't give a shit about who crossed what ocean, but you can tell the shit out of what building they built to sleep in.
And when they built it, and who stepped on it, and what architecture was used, and where they got the stones, and yeah.
How many
20
bolts for mice to get in are?
26.
26 on that, Druzzle. We need to use you on structures more often.
Yeah, we keep forgetting about it.
Like I said, I turn to you and literally go, not to be racist, but it's not that we forgot about it. It's that I never wanted to assume you had stone cunning because that's racist. But now it's been confirmed in game that you do have it.
I was gonna say after this, with me pointing it all out, you're gonna be like, structures, got it.
Well, to be fair, my entire in-game knowledge of dwarves comes from Clever Thunder and the fact that he was raised by him. And Clever Thunder and I were friends for 2 years. I don't know shit about dwarves. I know what he's told me about where he grew up.
Fair enough.
Okay. So with the 26, with the 26, there are a couple of things that you can recall from, or that you can recall from your studies and, or your studies and your own personal research. Let's see. For one, you know that there are weak points on the mandibles that should be easy enough to repair if they're broken. That's one way to release the, or that would be one way to release the unicorn.
Instead of tearing down the whole structure, we could target the mandibles and repair it as necessary. Okay.
Correct. Let's see. It is theorized that the mandibles hold within them a curse that is keeping the unicorn, or whomever it would be, trapped between the mandibles.
So potentially remove curse would release it. Same as it releases a soul from a soul coin.
Correct. But it can also just cause it to just target anyone.
It could also effectively destroy the structure, because if you remove the curse and we've got no one to put it back on, maybe it successfully actually removes it and we have no way to fix it.
Yep.
Okay.
There is also a creature that is bound to it that can control it. You find the creature and you convince them to release release whomever is trapped. They should just be able to command the building itself.
I like that option. Convincing somebody sounds a lot easier. And if we can't convince them, we defeat him, and then we figure it out. Well, actually, Druzzl, do you relay all the options, or do you only relay like one of the options to us, or two of the options?
I'd probably forego the remove curse just because of the potential implications on building destruction and unwanted pieces, but I would definitely say that we could destroy the arms holding the orbs, or find and release the being or creature that controls.
The warden. Okay. Well, in regards to the warden, I say as I'm sort of looking at the ground, you have any idea how to get him out? Because I really like the idea of convincing somebody.
Not that it'll really help too much, but if we can find a way to remove curse, I have bestow curse to fix it.
Oh, and I have remove curse. That's how we've been releasing the souls from the soul coins before they die. And for the record, Keith, I'm okay with you not having shared the remove curse thing. As a player, and probably as a character, Boston isn't very bright, but he is a hell of an arcanist. Both as a player and probably as a character, I've been sitting here thinking remove curse would probably do it. It seems to be the equivalent of he's wearing an attuned magic item, and the attuned magic item is the scarab, and the curse is you stuck here, charging the battery, is the mechanics of how that whole thing just sort of works. You know, the way 5e enchantments and curses and all work, basically. So that to me seemed like a potential obvious solution, so I'm kind of glad you didn't tell Boston, because Boston might have just shot from the hip. Because he doesn't have the confirmation currently. The only reason I wish Cam was here to make the decision is because Cam was the previous leader of the Stone group. I've been wanting to build more towards our new leader. So I'm gonna look at you, and yeah, I ask, do you know any way to summon him, or what do you think? Should we just take a swing at the device? Maybe that'll pull him out. What do you? Or yeah. What would you like to do?
I have a better question. Does it only target demons?
Fiends.
Or fiends? You knew what I meant. Thank you.
Oh, well, in game it would have been specific from a roleplay purpose, as far as I'm concerned. Like, I would have corrected you in game if you'd have said only demons. But when you pointed that out, if you actually meant only fiends, then I would have been like, yeah, well, that's what it targets. But to be fair, you fire a beam of energy at something. I don't know that I want to be caught in that beam.
What I'm trying to get at is, if it only targets fiends and none of us are fiends, can we just walk up to it and try to see if there's something that we can see with a more physical inspection than we can see way the fuck back here?
Oh, I've been on that same thought process, and here's my mentality. My mentality is I'm going to launch one of my imps at it. It's going to fire on the imp, and then we're going to have 60 seconds of safety to get closer to it and figure out what we want to do.
with a chance of it being longer, we're just not sure.
Yeah. I do not think, because again, when he read it across, it was based off of my roll on the Arcana check. He said fiends. I do not think it will target us. However, I'm picturing the spell Lightning Bolt. Lightning Bolt is a line. Everything in the line takes the damage. So I feel like we're fine as long as we don't line up with any fiends. Because this is picturing, that's when I picture a zapper, I picture the Lightning Bolt spell.
Everyone hide behind the vehicle.
But yeah, so but as far as I'm concerned, you've narrowed it down to those two options. Like, the way I see it, if we start smashing on this thing, dude's gonna pop out, probably. Like, he's probably like, this is a very powerful magical object. When I create magical objects, I have a sense of where they are. For instance, and at this point I whistle, Gurk, currently, where is the umbrella on your person? Are you leaning on it like a cane? Is it strapped to your back? Like,
it's hanging from my belt.
It is now detached from your belt and at my side as soon as I whistled.
So it would have gone up and then in a line to you.
Yeah, and that's how it moves. Actually, is in a line. If there's an object in the way, it looks like almost like a Tron object, it's like boop 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 straight over. Now, out of game mechanics of that are, if you learn the whistle, Girk, you could call it too. It's not like it's actually mine, but it's in the wording of the broom that whoever owns the broom can summon it from up to a mile away. Technically speaking, we've never addressed that it's your broom. It's still technically called, even as a magic item, Boston's Bumbershoot, which is why this is now the third time in game I've whistled for it, and it's come to me even though it's yours. So it wouldn't even shock you when I do that. But basically, yeah. So like I keep my feelers on magical items. I'm sure if we start swinging on this thing, we're gonna get attacked. Which is my way of justifying the metagame knowledge of, if we start swinging on this thing, we're probably gonna get attacked. Willing to bet it'll pull that guy out. However, if there's an easier way to pull him out, do we need to get closer to it? Dude, I could hit that mandible from here. I have a longer reach than the mandible's laser beam does. So, what do you think, Keith? Do you think we should try to get closer or try to summon it from out here? Because I've also been nervous ever since Jaime said, yes, but trying to cast Remove Curse may make it just fire indiscriminately or something. So, now I don't, that single phrase has tempered everything I do.
I mean, what?
I'm really tempted to. This is completely out of game right now. Really tempted to have Druzzl look at Boston and be like, "How sure?" in terms of targeting, and take off
and
towards
the running
base.
it, just running. Do it. I think if he does that, he's giving into his character flaw, and he should totally get an inspiration point for it, Jaime. I'm fighting for it if he decides to do that.
I'm gonna do it then, depending on what you say. If Boston says he's sure, I'll go. Is the way that logic plays out. It's a either you're sure or nothing happens.
Boston is gonna look at you, and as he opens his mouth, this cloud of patchouli smell and stank dragon breath comes out, and it's just sort of overwhelms a lot of your senses because it's just that potent right now. He's not focusing on any of his flavor spells to keep the smell away. He is looking like a frickin' haggard shamanistic type guy. So he has all of this immediate gravitas to his presence that screams like, I am a wizened caster, you know. And as he opens his mouth, he goes, eh? I'm rarely wrong.
Hey, Carl.
Yeah.
In game, did we change it to a whistle from command word? Because I just read it and it doesn't say anything about a whistle.
So it's command word on the broom. Remember, you're not using the broom, you're using the bumbershoot. And the particular command word that was chosen when it was crafted was a whistle.
Okay, like I said, I just read what was in my inventory.
Yeah,
and it didn't mention a whistle, so.
The magic broom, a lot of your text for that object was copied straight across. But yeah, the command word is a whistle.
Okay. Cool. So I do know it then, because I have to use the command word to get it to work in the first place.
So when Wes and I talked about it before, they weren't always the same command words. It's a magical item with multiple things it can do. Like it's also got a lantern thing that it's got that can be lit via a magic command word, stuff like that. But the fact is, we're level 11 now. The fact is, you probably know it just from, like I said, this is the third time I've used it like that, setting those 3 aside, you would have used all the other command words for how it works by now, I'm sure, since we're level 11 and you've had it since level 7.
Right. And I use it often.
Yeah. So. For you, every time I do the whistle, it's just a confirmation that there's something else that could be done with it. Effectively. But yeah, so Keith, that's what I do. Like, I look like this wizened critter, you expect me to say something intelligent, and what comes out is, I'm rarely wrong.
Alright. Off I go.
He just beelined towards the bottom of the Demon Zapper. Before you tell us whether he has to roll a new character, does this character get an inspiration point?
Yes, I'll give Druzzl an inspiration point.
Do inspiration points carry over to new characters?
We'll find out. As he's running, I'm summoning my Imp Familiar and preparing it on a kitty quarter angle from him straight up in the air, so that if I see that thing acting like it's gonna fire, my Imp's ready to action is to beeline to within 100 feet so it gets zapped.
Cool.
And my Imp is probably not happy with me. Because I can't imagine what's about to happen to it if he has to fly in is going to feel good.
Alright, Druzzl,
Yes.
would you please roll me 4d6?
Oh, Jesus. 46, that ain't too bad.
Thank you. Nothing actually happens. I just wanted to see if you would do it.
So he just runs in and he's just fine?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. My Imp lets out a sigh of relief. I look at Thick and say, I suppose we should keep up, huh?
Oh, fine.
I pop the umbrella chute open and just sort of like hold the handle out so that you could grab hold of it. And effectively, you can tell that what I'm about to do is have it drag you and I to catch up with his ass since he's ahead of us and the bumper chute is faster.
Fair enough.
So yeah, we just catch up with him. And when we get there, I release the bumper chute back to you, Thick.
I hang it on my belt again.
Okay. Let's see, that's 5, 10. You're about 40 feet away from the base of the structure now. Easily. You can see that there are basically a lot more dust piles and... Or the ground here is basically covered in ash that kicks up as you run towards it.
Presumably, the most powerful creature here is the unicorn. Never mind, the most powerful creature here is probably the thing that controls the Demon Zapper. When this is all said and done, I need to know what CR that creature is, because I immediately start collecting Fiend Dust. Because that's totally an ingredient.
Okay.
So we'll figure out the CR later. Well, as we sort of touch down near you, Druzzl. Well, we didn't get zapped. I told you I was rarely wrong. You didn't answer my question on how we get its owner here.
I wanted a closer look. For all I know, its owner's inside.
There is no inside. Jaime explained this. It's just a structure with that at the top.
Yeah, except I don't believe that.
Well, that was, I thought, it was based off of yours or fixed check. I thought it was based off of yours.
See, I was going off of based off of what I remember from Fix, which was a large metal structure with a stone base. So my brain goes, well, there's a stone base. Someone's got to be able to get in and out to do maintenance. More than likely, there's a hidden door.
No, it's more like think of it more like a monument. Like it's a solid object stretching up into the sky.
Okay.
Of course, so as we're having this discussion, I'm going to assume some variation of it's happening in game. Of course, not all rooms are equal, and not all doors have hinges and handles. And when everybody probably looks at me like, what the fuck is he on about? I use Shape Earth to open a door-sized door in the ground. Same mentality. Like, there could be something here that could live within the object.
So,
Like, absorb within the object via their magic. Or within the fucking fire around it, or whatever.
so when you do that, Druzzl goes, "Oh, so you know about dwarven doors?"
You pique his interest. In my head, I telepathically say to you, have to be a discussion for another time. But, yeah, sure. And you totally can tell that he rolled like a 1 on his deception check. He doesn't know shit, but he wants to know more. So, I mean, yeah, I guess there could be, Arcana check. They told me a creature could be connected to this. An Arcana check, what type of creature would likely be in the area that would fit the criteria? Because I'm trying to come up with a way to quote-unquote knock on their door. Jaime.
Okay.
$19.
Okay. So the structure targets fiends. So you know that no demon or devils or anything like that can even come near this structure.
Yeah, I'm just kind of stuck on some kind of elemental for some reason.
Exactly. It is definitely some kind of elemental to you. And given the surroundings, it is likely either an earth elemental or a fire elemental. It would have to be a really powerful one at that, too.
Oh, good. Yeah, I say we walk right up to the base of the structure. I look at and say that to Fick and Druzzl. Do you agree?
That's where I was heading.
Yeah. Then yeah, we head all the way up to the base, Jaime. When we do, I put one hand on the ground and one hand up in the air. And if anybody asks what I'm doing, I just say, knocking on the sky. And as I say that, I use Shape Earth, Move Earth, whatever, my cantrip, to cause knocking in the ground. I use Control Flames to create bubbles in the fire sort of lake and stuff around us. I'm gonna assume it's some sort of fire lake or river. I'm not gonna question it. We're in hell. It's some sort of fire pit. And the bubbling is like if you've ever been in a wave pool, the waves sort of slap. So I make the fire slap like waves do, and it makes a similar knocking sound. And I use Control Air and just make bubble pops in the air, and it literally, all of these sounds that are going off literally just sounds like somebody knocking on the door, but in stereo. I'm knocking on every single element. Except water, because it's probably not here.
Fair enough. So, your knocks resound throughout the area. You give it a moment of quiet afterwards.
The only sound we hear is a bug zapper.
Yeah, the zapper. And then, out of the ground, you see, or then from out of the ground, you see one hand just dart up. Or just dart up from through the ash, and it sets its palm against the ground. Another hand does the same, and this elemental pulls itself out of, or just pulls itself up out of the ground and towers over all of you. Let me go ahead and grab
Kind
a
of
picture.
earth elemental.
Oh, it's not like any earth elemental that you've seen.
Whoa. That is, I was about to say it's up at the top. That is a Dow. That's not just an elemental. Those are, aren't those Jinn?
Yes.
Oh boy. I don't want to fight that. But I will if I have to. Instead, I am going to roll persuasion. I'm not exactly sure how I would introduce myself to this person, because who knows if they can even speak my language. Let me see. Do I know? Oh, I look at Thick, and I say, I know you're not a... In my head, I say, I know you're not a translator, but help out.
That's my response. Just a heavy sigh.
Is that a yes?
Yes. It is a committal, I will help translate, heavy sigh.
Then yeah, I'm going to roll charisma to greet this Dao, and I refer to her in the greeting. I'm assuming gender looks female to me. I could be wrong. I am... Where's my skills? Basically going to greet this being. After all, I knocked on her door. And I want this greeting to come across as friendly as possible. And I say, greetings, Warden of the Demon Zapper. We have traveled far and seek parlance with you.
The Dao waves a hand. You can tell that she's casting a spell.
Oh boy.
And
I could take one shot.
And after a moment, it seems like, or after she casts her spell, it seems like nothing happens. And then she's like, silence. That makes things easy. She casts tongues on herself.
Oh, well. I commend her for casting tongues on herself. She made the effort that I was unable to at the moment, and I show deference to that. I appreciate the legwork. How does it make it easy?
Well,
Oh, okay. I was like, because I assumed that was her saying. That makes it easy.
Allow me to introduce myself first. I am Rosala, keeper of the Demon Zapper, bound to the Demon Zapper by Zariel. I no longer wish to be bound to the Demon Zapper.
Convenient.
Very convenient that you would seek to make a deal when I have something that I genuinely want. Now, what is it that you would like?
I point at the ball. I just point at it. And frankly, the zapper.
You want to keep, or you want the zapper itself?
Yes, but first, we want her.
Her?
I point to the unicorn.
You're familiar with Mooncolor.
Is that her name?
It is.
Yes. We've come for her. But what an impressive structure this is. We could not bring ourselves to damage it. We want it as well.
If I am no longer bound to it, it matters not what happens to the structure, to be perfectly honest. The structure, as well as Mooncolor, will be yours to do what you wish. If you can find a way to release me.
Okay, and you don't know where to start? Like, what's your deal? I know deals. Breaking deals is kind of what I'm good at.
There is an oracle named Red Ruth. If anyone would know, it would be her.
I kind of look at the rest of the party and telepathically say to them, do we want another fetch quest, or do we just want to free this unicorn?
How big is the fetch quest?
Who knows? We've got to go get this oracle.
Yeah, I know that would determine, but knowing the answer to that question, like, is it an hour away or is it a week away? I mean, that kind of determines my answer.
Look, here's the deal. We break your pact for you. You leave. You don't care what happens to the unicorn and the thing. That's great. That's what's going to happen either way if we break the pact for you. What else do we get out of breaking the pact for you? Because otherwise, right now, I see a really easy way to get that creature free. And I say that matter-of-factly. Like, I'm not trying to be threatening, but it's obvious that that's what I'm talking about. Like, if we beat her down, crack the structure, we free the creature. Like, this is all part of, like, laying the cards on the table level of parlance. This is why that 24 I rolled at the beginning was not anything specific. It's me trying not to come across insulting, or too insulting, while saying these things. The fact of the matter is, freeing you would make Zariel an enemy of ours. So there's gotta be... What we want, we get just by freeing you. So do you have anything else to offer? That makes the risk worth the reward.
Well, if you're going to be an enemy of Zariel anyway, I can make you allies with Bell.
And I go, Bell, big guy, horns, lives in a volcano?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, we're on a first name basis, but We've already met Bell.
I'm
We spent
impressed.
time. We served weeks at his forge, crafted under him.
I'm impressed. You're more
What,
resourceful than I gave you credit for.
What do you have over Bell that would make him an ally of ours? And what does us being an enemy of Zariel have to do with Bell being an ally of ours?
Bell or oh, that's simple. Uh, Bell wants Zariel dethroned.
I turn around and look at the party dumbstruck and out loud just say, you know, there's a certain level of obviousness to this that your lower level, your lessers want to dethrone you. But if we'd have known that information as a matter of openly stated facts, it might have made life a lot easier when we were making deals with him before. Because then we could have asked him to support us in our endeavor. If we release you, we're not going to Bell. We've already gone to Bell. If we release you, you do us the favor of you go to Bell. Since obviously you're on some sort of friendly basis with him. You go to Bell and inform him of our intentions and request of alliance. Effectively, I'm looking for like, so we've sent letters out before and we've sent like messages to create peace between all these other little military organizations and all these other groups that like owe us little slight favors. And right now, technically, we don't owe Bell, but like he owns a part of one of my abilities. So like I actively am telling her she needs to go show him that we're on this, like put in a good word for us, that we're on the same side so that he backs us up if shit hits the fan. Maybe he saves that divine favor he has that we gave him to help us.
I'm pretty sure at this point it's not if, it's when.
When shit hits the fan? No, I think that's if still, because as of last session, we discussed a mentality that Boston is sticking with, that Zariel is not the bad guy. I mean, she came down here to fight the Blood War, and then was turned into a victim, and then was basically abused into the position of power she is, or the position that she's in, and she's just stuck with it. She's not been given another option. Moreover, she's not been given forgiveness for falling. Like, it wasn't her fault. She was trying to do the right thing, and shit hit the fan for her. And who are we to judge her for that? We're entertainers. We're not judges. Like, that's kind of Boston's whole flaw. Like, his flaw is, I would perfectly rule the world if someone would let me, like, tyrannically. And he refuses to let that happen. It's this sort of same thing. Like, he doesn't want to see her. She's been forced into this tyrannical rule. If she could be offered a way out, like, he thinks that she might take it. After all, she was just a soldier, and soldiers try real hard to make it up through the ranks until they become generals, and then most of them that become generals doing all that paperwork behind the scenes and ordering men to their deaths wish they were just soldiers again. But right now we have so many things backing us up. So yeah, I tell her that that's my stipulation. That's what we want. But, you know, everybody else owes us a favor because we freed them. You know, the Ugoloth or whatever, and all that other stuff. The favor we want from her is right off the bat. You're going straight to Bell and telling him to support us. I know that doesn't mean he has to support us, but put in a good word with us, for us.
I swear it'll be the first thing I do upon my release.
Felix in his head looks specifically at Druzzl and says, I'm sure, but to everybody says, I am sure that she's telling the truth. But the I'm sure is a callback to the question earlier. I trust any of the genie bloodlines if they say make some sort of oath like that. Which again might be racist thinking, but that's just sort of how their powers work.
Shall we shake on it?
Yes, yes, we shall. And as I reach for her hand, I'm casting Control Earth so that the ground is rumbling around us. Because we're shaking on it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the earth rumbles, and it rumbles long after your spell should have ended.
Oh, I believe it. Mine is a concentrated effort to do the things that I do. Hers is her existence. Alright. Tell us where to find Ruth.
You can find her in, or let's see. She lives in a corrupted forest nearby. Any natives around here would be able to recall the location as the Bone Brambles.
Got it. We have a guide that should be able to help us.
How fortunate for you. You really are so resourceful, aren't you?
Have you not heard the tales of Boss Stone's magical menagerie?
I haven't been able to leave the Zapper here in a very long time.
Then I have but one request. My allies and I be allowed respite here for the evening till we move ahead, and we will tell you of our tale.
A quick question. Are any of your members fiends?
None that are within the range of the Zapper.
Very well then.
How far away from the Zapper are you able to go? I would find a way to casually ask her.
I need to stay within the range that it is able to fire.
Oh. Okay, that's fine. We can do that. We go back to the vehicle, she can still see us. So that's fine. And I do what we do. You know, while we eat and take our respite, I put on the show. I tell the story of all the things that have got us from point A to point B. Why? Because we're about to free this woman. When we do, she's going to carry our story with her. She's going to carry the story of how the god Stone and the god Fick and the goddess Tiamat led a battle into Avernus to free people that had been wrongfully captured. But I also tell of... I basically tell the story like it's a crusade. And I make it as entertaining as possible while spreading the good news of the mother. And I've also thought about that, by the way. I've been talking to Keith about it. This idea that our new Tiamat is still evil. So the original Tiamat was chaotic evil. I was trying to create a good Tiamat, ended up with a still evil Tiamat. But I've got this picture of a lawful evil Tiamat that is a mom. Check me out. People are like, why are moms lawful evil? Think about it. The law of momhood is pretty straightforward. Take care of your babies, live within society as necessary so that your babies can live within your society, grow. But anybody hurts your babies, you're willing to do some pretty shady acts to take care of your babies. That to me is this new Tiamat. That's why she's still lawful evil. When I look at her, I don't see an evil woman. Yes, she has that evil alignment, but like that just means she's willing to do evil shit to still be a mom. And that's sort of how I portray her in these stories.
Fair enough.
So, that's what I do with my evening. I don't know about you guys. What are you guys doing?
I've been translating.
It was covered that she didn't need us to anymore. She cast tongues on herself.
Oh, I missed that.
Oh yeah, that was the very first thing that she did after he said that he wanted to make a bargain.
Wanted parlance.
But thank you.
Well, then I've been listening. Mhm.
But yeah, you're just eating food and hanging out.
Yep.
What about you, Druzzle?
Mostly just hanging out.
How does she take our story? Or should I roll a performance check?
Go ahead and roll performance.
It's not quite as good as my persuasion, but it's still a pretty good check. $19.
Okay. She listens to it very intently. It is clear that she is definitely one for stories and tales.
Oh, sure, a stone elemental, I bet. Talk about the history of the world being written on them. Druzzle, you could probably flirt with her using your stone cunning.
Wow.
Probably. I'm just saying. Yeah, my thought process is she's going to carry the story with her wherever she goes, and I'm still trying to grow the legend. Because that's how Fick will become a god again, as far as Boston's concerned, and that's how Tiamat will be able to fully ascend to power, is faith. But, word. Okay. Then, yeah, then we camp here and leave at first light. And I'll go ahead and burn one of our coins. Burn the coin, the soul, clear it so that we have a fresh coin in.
Okay. Alright, I feel like this is a good time for a quick break. Shall we take a 5 to 10?
Yep, sounds
Sure.
good to me.
Alright, be back in a bit.
I'm back.
Hello.
I gotta ask Jaime what CR that Dow is when he gets back. Because that is the dust that I collected. Oh my god, this multiple keyboard shit's causing me all kinds of issues.
What's going on?
Well, I've got three. My desk has three separate keyboards. It's got one for my desktop, one for my laptop, and then the one that's attached to my PlayStation.
Okay.
And I keep grabbing the wrong keyboard.
Oh.
Like repeatedly. Like I'll look something up, I'll type, realize I'm on the wrong keyboard, type on the right keyboard, go back to looking up, reach down and start typing again, and once again I'm on the wrong keyboard.
That's funny. I'm not gonna lie.
I was fine when it was just 2, but today I've got my laptop open because I run Fantasy Grounds on my laptop. While I run Discord on my computer and Discord on, I keep my character sheet open on my second monitor from D&D Beyond on my main computer, so that I can keep just my laptop running just my Fantasy Grounds client. It is the best way to take strain off everything.
Sounds like it.
But all it's done is made my life more stressful.
Yeah, I have issues when I work from home and my work laptop literally sits next to my keyboard. I'll try to use my keyboard and mouse for my desktop computer to type on the laptop that has its own keyboard right there.
But it's not the same unless you got one of those big ass laptops that have the full size keyboard.
It's a full-size keyboard.
I have a full-size keyboard and not a big-ass laptop. The keyboard is actually small. But it has the whole, like, the 10 key and everything.
Well, yeah. I know that they have those, but you can get laptops that have a normal size keyboard on them.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what I was talking about.
Yeah, my work one's that one, and then the one sitting on the table over there actually has special function keys, too.
Servers.
That one's dead.
I want to go to the server we're currently in. And I want to go to... Where do we post stuff? Just Baldur's Gate? Yeah, there we go. Add. That's what my shit currently looks like.
Jeez.
And technically speaking, the keyboard in the very front with the white on it is not actually sitting in front of me. I just moved it there for the picture. It's sitting off to the side. But that's where it normally lives, is in that spot. That's how my setup looks when I'm streaming, Keith. Laptop and everything.
Woof.
I mean, it's worked. It didn't used to look like this. I didn't do it this way, you know, but obviously my growth while getting the European market has been so stupid that I have had to try harder. Like, if I feel like I'm lost in a game, I don't dwell on it in my stream. I will write it down, and then the next day, I look it up so that when my stream starts, I already have the information I need, so I can go right to it. And I'll have that up on one of my side monitors or whatever, so that I don't have to, like, spend the time Googling something.
Fair.
Yeah. So, like, my right monitor, top right monitor, is usually what I'm Googling. Top left monitor is Twitch. And then the laptop is open for if I have to immediately search for something. Or sometimes I have music playing on it. Not always. I've only had it up for stream like 3 times. So. Yeah. My nerding is getting stronger. And when my laptop is closed, it still lives in that same spot, but when it's closed, it still works as like a surface area on the desk. You really shouldn't use your laptop as a surface area, but like, it's there. And in the picture, you can see my Xbox. Normally, my PS5 is sitting right on top of that.
So I'm thinking I'm picking up a new hobby. It's kind of expensive. I think I'm gonna become a gun guy.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just don't accidentally shoot the wrong thing because you can't see.
Oh, I won't. Like I might. One of the things I'm gonna invest in at some point is I'm gonna buy a crash test dummy as my target.
Nice.
And Cam found a place where it's free to go shoot. You just have to bring your own ammo and targets and stuff. So,
I mean, you know me, I just go where Mike always did, out to Pawnee.
He knew about that place because of me.
Oh, that's where I always went.
Yeah,
I knew about that place because of Jake.
I know. I remember seeing you guys there that one time.
Oh yeah.
But that place, from what I can tell, that place has gotten a complete overhaul, and it's an actual shooting range now. There's just no facilities, and it's free still. But they have from what it looks like, they put in cement benches for a shooting platform and stuff like that all over the place, and they really cleaned it up from what I can tell. But we're gonna go. He found the website for it, and when I get my gun next week, we're gonna drive out there and go check it out.
Fun. You know, Jaime said 5-10 minutes. I thought we would be the last ones back.
I never left.
I actually came
I
back
think I'm
right
the
around
only
the
one that
time
actually
that
took my headset off. I'm actually going to be honest with you guys. I'm nervous about going any further than we already have. I want to play more, but like we've already made one whole stop already without Cam.
That's fair.
Like he's back.
I've actually been back since the beginning of Girk saying that he was picking up a new hobby.
Oh, fair enough. Well, yeah. So that's I want to put that out there. Like I'm fine to keep playing more, but I wanted to be honest about like we've already done one whole location without him, so that it's at least mentioned.
I agree that we probably should not, just because of how I feel about playing without people here. But like I said at the beginning, I was fairly confident he wouldn't make it, so that's why I didn't.
And he was totally chill. Like every time I talk to him about it, he's like me. Both of us are pretty much totally chill with the game going on without us, as long as we're not at a boss fight, like a main story hook boss fight. So that's why, like, I'm 6 in one, half dozen in the other. Like, I do think we need to be honest about where we're at, but like at the same time, I could keep going. And I don't think that he would mind. I'm actually going to message him right now and ask if he has any ideas. Because who knows, we might decide we're done, and then 5 minutes from now he texts and says he's free.
Right.
So I am texting him right now. I'm saying, do you have any idea if you'll join? He usually responds to me pretty quick. Do you have any idea if you'll join? We're trying to decide if we're going to go further or not. And I'm sure he'll see that and at least respond. While we're hesitant on that, holy crap, guys! I'm becoming popular in European markets for streams.
Cool.
Probably because of those late night streams, huh?
That's exactly what it is. I'm getting late night Star Trek players and quote unquote True Trek fans. People were talking about it in my streams this morning, or in my chat this morning, about You just never know anymore. There's so many people that don't actually like Star Trek that swear they like Star Trek now. Like, listen to the way they talk about disco. And then it, like, led into these whole conversations, and I'm just like, nope, I just don't want to comment, because that's how you find that troll. So, like, I let it go. But most of my Star Trek streams are averaging 6 or 7 viewers. Which is, I mean, Mass Effect was only averaging like 6 or 7 on a good day. That's when it peaked. Like these ones, mine are jumping as high as 13 or 14 for an hour or two at a time.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And lots of it's from Germany. I've got a bunch of new followers. I hit 73 followers last night / this morning out of my goal of 75, and I'm trying to get to 100. Like, I'm trying to get to where I can set my goal to be 100. That's when I'm excited. Triple digits, you know? So. And I got a
think
message.
Double digits is worth celebrating.
It really is. It really is, and I was super happy. He said, I was still going to try. I'm almost done with my stuff, but if you guys were wanting to stop for the day, I can survive the heartbreak.
How much is almost? It's kind of like a few anymore.
Right?
I'm almost done. 6 hours later.
I'm going to say, how much is almost? We can move on to the next thing and then see where you're at. If you haven't joined us by then, by the end of it, you know, then we'll call it. Which, as I kind of think what my vote is, that we move on to this Ruth thing, and then whatever comes next. Jaime, you weren't here, so I pulled up the CR of a DAO.
Oh, yes. CR11.
Yeah. So that makes this entire encounter, quote unquote, CR12, because I'm gonna assume the unicorn is at least CR1, and that the amount of creatures that get hit by the zapper and create the dust is at least, 1. So somewhere in there it's going to add up to 1. And that's how CR is determined for whole encounter. So I did ingredients as a CR12.
Okay.
Because CR is determined by the largest CR plus 1 for each creature above CR1.
Yeah, Moonstar is actually CR5.
Yeah, I figured. I thought that's what we had figured out about unicorns a while back when we were looking up nightmares. Because we found out nightmares are broken unicorns.
Yep.
And oh look, there's a member of our party that totally has the ability to turn that unicorn into a nightmare. And Druzzl, you better stinking not. Because you have those, don't you?
Nope.
For the spurs? Who has the spurs?
Vic has them.
Vic, do not use those spurs on the unicorn and turn it into a nightmare.
I don't have any spurs that I know of.
Yeah, see, Druzzl, I thought you had it. Nope. I don't know if they got put in anybody's character sheet.
Check the party sheet.
Nope, they're not there either.
Do I have them? Oh, if I have them, they could literally be written into one of my, Yeah. Yeah, I don't have them. Unless they're in one of my ingredients charts. Cam said he's setting up. He can probably be with us in the next 20 minutes.
Okay.
Cool.
So it sounds to me like we want to move on to the Bone Bramble, if our dear friend would like to navigate. Also, there is one more thing I would like to do. Jaime, and you're going to disapprove it first, and then I'm going to explain it, and hopefully you'll approve. Okay? So know that your initial disapproval is not going to be is not necessarily. You'll understand. I would like to roll persuasion to seduce the Dao. But to be clear, I'm not trying to seduce the Dao. I am trying to play Cupid. We brought her out to her 100-foot barrier, and we put on our show. At some point during this, she would have seen the Find Devil, Uldrak. Uldrak, I wouldn't have necessarily introduced her to Uldrak unless he wanted to be introduced, but he is a Titan. He is a giant. She is an elemental. Yes, earth elemental. He's, what, I think fire or air. There's playing fields there for them to flirt. And Boston, when he gets to that part of the story where he talks about Uldrak and us meeting Uldrak and having to get the orb or whatever, like, I ham it up for Uldrak's sake. So I would like to roll persuasion to seduce the elemental.
Okay.
Do you see why I was like, you're not gonna like this at first? 18 to talk up a good game for my boy Uldrak.
Interesting.
What? Sometimes I gotta do stuff purely for the roleplay. That serves no purpose but the roleplay. Like, if I make her fall in love with Uldrak, great. She's about to be free. We're gonna turn Uldrak into a giant again. Happy giant babies. And the mother of dragons being responsible for their romance, like, long and short, because Boston doesn't take credit for anything. Like, he would have done this in the name of Tiamat. So yeah, like, it's sort of perfect. But alright, what's our navigation check? To the bone brambles.
Alright, navigation. Successful.
Woohoo!
Oh.
Uh-oh.
What?
What? Okay. Just making sure that I have my mic. Yeah, my mic's unmuted on OBS. I didn't pull a silly. Alright, so the bone brambles. A maze of warped trees and bone-like vines stretches before you. Calcified corpses merge with trees covered in fungal pods that feed on the blood oozing through the undergrowth. Here and there, narrow paths wend deeper and deeper into the wood.
The bone bramble is a forest merged with like a necromancer situation. Bunch of corpses mangled into trees.
Sort of. Would you like to roll Arcana? or some
Sure.
kind of history, I will accept either.
I'll sling it with Arcana. Can I, since I do have my imp out, I mentioned earlier from the being at the Bone Zapper, or the Demon Zapper, because I have my imp out, he's from Avernus, and we've pointed out that the natives of Avernus know what the Bone Brambles are. Can he give me another advantage on this check?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's go. 22.
So he gives you some history. The one named Red Ruth is a night hag. She corrupted, or it is said that she corrupted a community of dryads by fouling the roots of their trees with a mind-bending poison. And as the dryads fell to evil, their forest was wrenched from the Feywild and thrown into Avernus. The dryads who resisted the poison died trying to merge back into their trees. The rest crumbled to ash and became restless, tortured spirits akin to banshees that now wander the woods. Red Ruth still is within the brambles and declares this her home.
Oh my god. So I am glad that we left our carriage back in Baldur's Gate, because it's possessed by a dryad, and it probably couldn't have handled this forest and or the possibly still lingering thorns that are toxic and mind-bending. So I'm really glad that we left that back in Baldur's Gate. Two, I'm kind of glad that Cam isn't necessarily here right now, because he might just burn this place to the ground on principle. And three, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I've talked about this before. Boston's whole Warlock Tome thing is his Tome's the Farmer's Almanac. All of his spells that came from it are Druid spells. Felix is having trouble not burning this place to the ground right now. Felix respects that hags exist because they're witches. He's a witch. He's turned the whole party into witches. And we've worked with Mad Maggie, who is also a hag. So we can handle hags. In fact, now that I mentioned that out loud, Boston totally has this idea of, let's get Red Ruth on the same page as Mad Maggie. But because Mad Maggie's alone and hags are normally trios. So and Red Ruth, we haven't heard of her having any people with her so far. So who knows? Maybe we'll get the two of them together, and then they just need to find a third one, and they have their hag trio, which would be great. And that fits the roleplay that Boston usually goes for. But I don't know that I'm happy with the fact that there's half-fused dryad corpses hanging out from these trees. This place is really stinking evil. Gilly, I was stalling. I really need a druid's opinion.
Sounds like I've got good timing.
Oh my god. All right.
Welcome.
Recap. We decided to go for the Demon Zapper first because Boston had the quest for the Demon Zapper.
Okay.
While we're in that recap, Boston also offered if anybody in the party would have wanted the Orb of Dragonkind instead of him. It's super stinky, and so everybody was like, no, I don't want to be stinky. But Boston did offer it to the whole party because out of game, Felix just ran up and grabbed it, and nobody else had a chance to do anything with it.
Yeah.
So do you want the orb?
No, I'm fine.
Fair enough. Okay, covered.
I appreciate the offer.
Yeah, so we made it to the Demon Zapper. The Demon Zapper is, if you look in chat, there is a picture of a scarab beetle coming up out of the ground. That it was the Demon Zapper. In the heart of those two mandibles was a glowing orb that whenever a demon or a fiend, actually, whenever a fiend got within 100 feet of it, zap, it had a 1-minute recharge. We found out that the device was being charged by a celestial. Somewhere there was a celestial that was acting as a battery. Boston worked out that, well, if we can free the Celestial, which is the unicorn we're looking for, if we can free the Celestial, but keep the thing intact, the Demon Zapper's actually a really good idea. You know, kill any of these extra critters. You know, it's crowd control.
Yeah.
So it's a good idea to have. So Boston didn't want to take it apart. So while figuring that out, Keith leaned in and Fick leaned in. Fick noticed that the orb at the top was the celestial creature. The unicorn was being suspended in a ball of light between the two pinions. And they were, that she's cursed to be trapped there. Keith used his stone cunning, Druzzl used his stone cunning to realize several things about trying to release this creature, but that likely there was, for lack of a better term, a warden that would be in control of the tower, a being connected to the tower. We realized it was an elemental being, and so Boston literally knocked on the sky. He used his elemental powers to literally make the fire waters knock as though waves were crashing, but knocking sounds, and move earth to knock on the ground, and control air to knock in the sky, and all that fun stuff. And
Okay.
and then a Dao, an earth elemental genie, Dao, crawled out of the ground.
Okay.
I told her we wanted to talk about freeing the thing, and she's like, "Oh, well, that works. I wanted to talk to you too." She pointed out she hated her job, and set us on a path to freeing her. Basically, she doesn't know how to break her deal with Zariel. If she breaks her deal, or if we break her deal with Zariel, the unicorn and the tower are ours. They're just handed over. They're ours.
Cool.
She'll also talk to Belle. We went to Belle's forge, if you remember, and did all our crafting.
Yeah.
She will talk to Belle and basically tell Belle that, like, no, we're going to dethrone Zariel if he wants to support us, because he wants to dethrone Zariel. So she's going to make that connection for us. Even though we've already worked with him before, we weren't really on that connection level. She's going to...
Yeah.
So now Belle will be added to the list of people that want to see us dethrone Zariel.
Huh. All right.
Yeah, and that's not like a hard and fast that'll work, but at least the information gets there. I also told this earth elemental being our story so that she would carry our story with her. And then we went on to the bone brambles, which is where we are now, literally as you show up. The bone brambles are terrible. They're a forest that was corrupted. All of the dryads of the forest were corrupted by a mind-bending poison. And as they turned evil, the forest was wrenched out of the Feywild and dropped into Avernus because of their evilness in this forest. The ones that didn't necessarily want to be evil or whatever, wanted to go back into their trees, did not successfully make it back into their trees. They, like, died fusing back into their trees. So these trees have, like, corpse dryads, like wooden corpse dryads in them and stuff.
Okay.
And the woman that basically created the mind-altering poison is at the center of this forest, and that elemental genie sent us here to talk to her, to ask her how to break the deal. So we're here peacefully as we come across this druid's nightmare.
Yeah. Definitely.
Do you see why I was stalling? I needed to know what you had to say about this. Jaime, can you read the description of the bone brambles for Cam?
Sure thing. A maze of warped trees and bone-like vines stretches before you. Calcified corpses merge with the trees, covered in fungal pods that feed on the blood oozing through the undergrowth. Here and there, narrow paths wend deeper and deeper into the wood.
Oh, good lord.
Yeah, it's corpsey Mirkwood.
Yeah. I didn't know Mirkwood could get any scarier.
Yeah, it's totally Mirkwood from Lord of the Rings, but corpsey.
Yeah.
And we have to find our way to the center of it, where... Well, I assume the center of it is where Red Ruth is. The imp said that's where she made her home. Is that... Because it is a maze. I'm gonna... Like, you described it as maze-like. A maze of warped trees. So, I'm gonna assume, like, hedge maze. She's in the center?
Yep.
Yeah.
Let me.
I would like... I know how to peacefully get us through this in a way that probably cuts the fetch questiness of this in half, but I really need to know what Gilwyn's response to this place is at all. Like, I don't know how I would handle being a druid in this situation. Like, my character, if I were a druid, would probably be openly weeping at the sight of this place, man.
Yeah, this would be the most emotional you've ever seen Gilwyn. Like he's freaking out a little bit. As reserved and as, you know, stony as he can be. Good lord. Like
And Fick, you're a forest gnome, right?
Yes.
So you would even have your own issues, because forest gnomes, dryads, you're kind of the same, you know, family, quote unquote, you know, like, yeah, that's, you're part of the same ecosystem. What's your comfort level with this place?
I've been trying to think about that.
I know you don't always play up the forest gnome part of being a forest gnome. You rely a lot on the god thing.
I honestly, like I said, I've been thinking about it since we got here. My comfort level is I am uneasy but intrigued is the best that I can come up with.
no one didn't know a worse thing could happen to a forest after watching his burn. Like,
Yeah. Do you consider this worse than what happened to yours? Because
Oh,
yours
yeah.
was just burned.
yeah.
Oh my god, how's your sword reacting?
Oh, that's a good one.
Between you and your... Oh my god. We don't need to navigate the maze.
I'm afraid to plant the sword here.
Motherfucker, as much as I respect you being afraid to plant the sword here, and Boston would like... My insight shit. Boston would assume you were going to hesitate about that. Boston would look right at you and be like, this is the perfect time. This land has been besmirched. It's been destroyed. I know we're here peacefully, and I know we need to peacefully communicate to the red hag. But like, can we let this atrocity stand? You and your sword may have the ability to reclaim the heart of this forest. Look at you and I. We brought a tree back to life. That we brought the cart back to life. Okay, and put a dryad inside of it using thaumaturgy and druidcraft, and a couple of nat 20s.
And technically the dryad came to us, but
This place is run amok with dead dryads half hanging out of trees. We already know we can resurrect the wood. Okay? Because we've done it. And crazy evil dryads that we might be able to purify. Like,
Yeah.
there might be no better place for you than to drop it outside the forest so that we know the path in, and then we just beeline it in, and when we get to Red Ruth's, you just drop that fucking sword right outside her front door. Like, but that's me. Like, Boston is struggling. We covered this the other day with Mephisto. Boston's playing the political game, but some of the dark shit in hell he's about done with. And I'm struggling with this one. That's why I'm like, balls in yours and Fick's court as far as he's concerned, because you guys are the foresty characters. But and we also have to remember, you know, Red Ruth needs to be... we need to make her like us. And if we destroy her forest, she's not gonna. But if we make her forest a forest of light, or not. It doesn't even have to be a forest of light. It could still be Mirkwood. It just doesn't have to be fetid Mirkwood. You know?
Yeah.
I didn't have a problem, like from a druidic standpoint. I don't have a problem with giant spiders and shit like Mirkwood has.
No. Yeah, no, I don't have a problem with.
There, but I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't have a problem with the. I guess you could call it the evil things that you can find in a dark wood like that, but it's whatever caused this one needs to be stopped.
Yeah, this is too much. This is too far.
Yeah.
And I mean, part of me thinks we need to dial it back as we're walking in. Like I was half literally looking at Druid, like it's a forest. We don't need to worry about the maze. Between you and me, we can literally just untangle the bramble and walk to the center. These aren't ironwood, these are trees.
Yeah.
Doing so is going to obviously piss off the crazy dryads, which means your druidic ass needs to be ready to communicate with them. And
if
God
they can be
knows,
communicated with.
but part of that process, well, yeah, but again, they were just poisoned. There are spells to remove poison and spells to remove disease. So doing it to one or two along the way as we go, cakewalk. Once we get to the center is, like, it's got to be done at the heart of the place, I feel.
Yeah.
But, again, the problem is, how do we be peaceful with her while, like, do we walk in like we fucking own the place? Because I feel like we need to walk into her house like we own the place. And the game, I feel like the game doesn't want us to do that. The game wants us to walk in there peacefully.
I could see at least walking in there like we're on equal footing.
Well, for that, we need equal footing. We kind of need to know how big this forest is.
Yeah.
Like I said, your sword is the best way to do it. If you're not comfortable with doing that yet, my advice is we send Fick or somebody up in the air with the
Broom.
the flyer. Yeah, and then he can sort of perception check the whole forest as a whole.
My sword only has a range of 1 mile, so if it's more than 1 mile...
Yes, your sword has a radius of 1 mile.
Oh, so it's 2 miles, but
so if you put your sword in the center, you have 1 mile in every direction out from it.
Right, but we're at the edge, so I could...
Well, that's what I'm saying. If the forest is only like 1 mile across, or even 2 miles across, her house is in the middle. We only need to see halfway in.
Yeah. Oh, fair. I get what you're saying.
But that would give your sword a look at the forest, and then you could get your sword's opinion.
True. Yeah. I'll do that.
Plus, you've never used this part of your magic item, and we're working on leveling it to its 3rd tier.
Yeah. Well, I haven't used it enough. I think I've used it one other time. But, yeah, I will... Here, let me read up on what it actually does. Again.
I haven't looked at it in a while.
Yeah, me neither.
I know that I based it on Dresden's Genius Loci.
Yeah.
I know it's just basically to give you perception check and perception check bonuses over the area, but the model is that you can basically make a perception check against an entire mile's worth of stuff, even though you can't see those things because your sword can sense it through the roots.
Right. Yeah, root of knowledge. When with an action, you can cause the sword to take root. So long as you are within 1 mile of the sword, it has charges remaining. You can use the nature and survival as a bonus action. Also, for 1 charge, so long as you're within 1 mile, you can spend an action to make a nature, history, religion, or survival check with advantage. So...
Oh, the perception modifier hasn't been added yet. That was going to be added in the 3rd tier when the ability evolves.
Oh no, that's within 30 feet.
Oh, so that's what I'm saying. Right now, the
Yeah.
perception boost is 30 feet. When that goes to third tier, that was supposed to expand to being within the distance of the thing's sense.
Okay. But for now, I
yeah,
think
so
I
you
can
don't
make a
have any-
nature check because that'll at least give me pathways, stuff like that. What's in the woods, maybe?
Oh, how to navigate entrance and out.
Yeah.
It's up to you. Do you want to do that, or do you want to send Thick up into the air to get a basic layout first?
Let's combine them. See what happens.
Thick,
And then,
potentially giving you advantage on your checks.
well, I'll already
have perception check goes. Oh, you already have it. So yeah, there's
yeah.
really no point in combining.
Yeah.
Thick, you first. Thick, how big is the forest?
Let's find out. What do I roll for that?
Perception check, probably.
That's what I was thinking, but sorry, I had to get up off my bed and move to my computer. My back was hurting. Oh.
To be fair, Gilwyn, you and Thick could fly in the air to the center of the forest, fly straight down into the center of the forest, plant the sword, and then come out and get us.
Just
That actually
break in-
sounds like a decent.
Yeah. Is that what you want to do?
Is there any way that someone can get the advantage?
On your perception up there? No, but somebody could have cast guidance on you before you took off.
I definitely would have.
That's a D4?
Yeah.
Okay. 23 plus 4, hang on. Or plus a D4. 25.
So I know we run all of that past 15 times before it all got to Jaime, and Jaime's said to me before that when we do plans like that, it derails him. So Jaime, specifically what that was Fick was flying up into the air, doing a perception check to determine the size of the forest and any potential easy in and outs on the, because he's going to help. This is all to help Gilwyn with his later check.
Okay. The forest the dimensions of the forest are 220 feet across from the outside. Uh, 140 feet. The other, or the other dimension. So north to south is 140 feet. Our east to west is 220.
So it's basically a small grove of a forest that got chunked out and brought here.
Right.
It's pretty big.
There are 5 entrances into the grove itself. 1 in the north, 1 in the east, 1 in the south, and 2 to the west. There doesn't appear to be any easy way to access it from the top. The brambles forms a sort of dome.
Oh.
Well, I still stand by. There would technically be druidcraft and/or plant growth controls the growth of the growth of plants. Once he got up there, he could roll the dome back. But you'd be awful exposed, like an open target, right on the roof of the place.
Yeah, and druidcraft being the cantrip that it is, it could also take a while.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, when we did it before, just little stuff takes. But at the same time, your druidcraft has moved ironwood trees. So, like, we are level 11 characters now, and even though they are cantrips, they scale up quote unquote. These are flavor spells, so they don't actually have a scaling thing on them, unfortunately. But if they were
Right.
combat spells, they would have scaled up at level 5 and at level 11.
That's true.
So you are technically more powerful now than you were when you were using it on Ironwood. And while you couldn't actually control the Ironwood, you were able to manipulate it, which means a simple forest, especially when you already know how dryad wood works, because we made that wood receptive to a dryad. Like, that was one of the things we specifically did. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and argue that's the problem is not opening the door, is not untangling it. Look, it's just like, think of this like fate system, right? In fate system, you succeed, you can always succeed, but even when you fail, if you choose to succeed, you succeed at a cost.
Right.
In this particular case, trying to go in from the top like that would be a succeed at a cost mentality. Like, you start working on that, all of a sudden dryad arms are going to reach up and try to snatch you through the hole you're creating or something, you know?
Yeah. It'd probably be best to just. I could plant the sword and
use
within...
use your survival check to figure out which path is going to take us straight there.
Right.
Because that's the whole point of survival check, is navigating in stuff like this.
Yeah. Hi, mate, can I do that?
Yes.
Okay. So the sword takes root, and I forget how many charges.
I need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
A wisdom saving throw. Good thing that's the one I actually have.
That's one of your broken stats.
Yeah. 24.
Okay. The sword is inserted into the ground, and as you feel it pulsing and reaching out, you also see winding pale roots darting from the brambles, trying to reach the sword, but the sword pulses them away.
Interesting.
Well, yeah, you got to think about it. The dryads are going to try to possess that sword, but what they don't know is that sword's already technically possessed by the equivalent of one of them, in that it's a treant or whatever.
I always felt like treants were a little more superior in power.
Yeah, you're talking like the next tier up now, but
Yeah.
Yours is a weakened version of itself. However, yours
Right.
has grown in power because you have grown in power.
Correct.
Go ahead and roll your survival check with advantage.
Survival. Nat 20 for a 29.
Nat 20 for a 29.
Excellent. You know exactly how to get to, or how to get to the lair.
Excellent.
Which means I don't need this map anymore.
Oh god, now I'm curious, is the map an actual maze?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
See, what's confusing me, though, is that this map, I looked at it from every single entrance. I don't see how you're supposed to get through.
He's able to navigate it. Just share the map with us and see if we can figure it out.
Yeah.
I'll give you the DM version. Because the other one, I think, has, like, shadows on it.
Right.
Now, every one of those B2s is supposed to be a dead end, and I don't see any notes about things opening.
Top left B1 comes to a fork in the road. When it comes in, it crashes into a B2 dead end, but the bottom one doesn't. It comes in. That's a wall at B3. That's
I see it. Okay.
Oh yeah, it wraps. It's a spiral.
Yeah. It's a real loose spiral, but it's a... Yeah.
I see it. Like every other one is like dead end, dead end, dead end.
You said this is the GM map. Is it that we can't see any pins on it, or are there no encounters, or is it like a random encounter?
This one actually has notes on here like B2 and B3 and B1. Or the player map, like I said, I believe has, or looks like it has lighting on it. Here, I'll
Gotcha.
share it with you. Yeah, you probably can't even see anything on here.
Yeah, I've
It's
got a
currently
backstory.
black. Our tokens would have to have light sources on them.
Yep. So it actually makes it a genuine maze.
So it's a genuine maze in the dark. And he nat 20 to solve it. See, I told you to use that dang sword.
A good idea.
Okay. So you make it to Red Ruth's lair. Excuse me. A cave-like hovel lies at the center of the maze. Hundreds of bones and body parts hang by twine from the entrance, and the ceiling is strung with garlands made of bloody entrails. The air buzzes with flies.
Gross. I feel like I should just roll persuasion and call out to her.
That is up to you. You definitely see that there is a light on the inside.
Do you guys think we should just walk in or call her out?
I'd say call her out.
Yeah, call her out.
Call her out.
Okay. Go ahead and roll your persuasion, I suppose.
Okay.
You can have a guidance with it if you'd like.
Sure. I don't know if I'll use it, but I'll go ahead and take it hanging on me. Yeah, I'll rock that 27 without burning the guidance.
Okay. Red Ruth, a night hag, walks out of her cave. She wears a dress made from stitched together bones. Strings of infant skulls hang around her neck and chatter nursery rhymes incessantly. All of them in different languages.
Oh.
Well, it's not often that I get visitors.
Wow, that's creepy.
Yeah, it is.
And I say, well, it's not often we are so enchanted by, and I hesitate and then say, a wood that we must find our way to its heart. But I'm afraid you have charmed us into your company. You see, we seek an oracle known as Red Ruth, said to live in these parts. Do you know her? I mean, obviously this is her, but...
I should hope so. Red Ruth would be I. And what can I do for you? Just remember, All magic comes with a price.
Don't I know it? Oh my goodness, honey. Oof. Let me tell you. And I'm a cat, she's a witch, I just straddle up to her like I do. I did the same thing with Mad Maggie. And also, I'm not bothered by the fact that she's a hag. And even though I'm sure she probably smells about as bad as I do. I completely forgot about that. My smell.
I didn't. I was almost going to bring up that the smell of her hovel probably makes you smell like petunias right now.
Solid. I had other things I could have done, I just realized. I could have used that orb to find our way here.
True.
Because that orb has scrying. Okay, I basically inform her of the Tao. I say, look, we have someone who has a deal with Zariel and needs broken. And, yeah, we're just trying to find our way through it, you know?
Ah, Ralzala.
Yeah, that'd be the one.
I know of her and her pack. And there is one way to break it. But I'm going to need something in return.
Everyone always does. Like you said, magic and a price.
It won't be much, just a little favor.
I'm waiting.
For you see, it's been a long time since I've had a bath.
So far, Boston's unfazed. He's actually, I've joked before when we set up that drinking game for the giant when we were in the Cloud Giant area. I'm Bugs Bunny. Literally, as she's saying, it's been a while since I've had a bath. You literally see Boston's like all of a sudden holding a robe and a towel. Like, let's go.
Soap on a rope and a shower cap and a...
I'm Bugs Bunny'd up, ready to go.
Now I have a standing appointment at the Wandering Emporium. I just need you to watch over my hovel while I'm enjoying my pampering.
What threatens it that it needs watching over?
Well, sometimes the former dryads can get a little restless.
It's a deal. In my head, I telepathically say to Gilwyn, like I cut her off and say it's a deal. I telepathically in my head say to Gilwyn, look, we're gonna smash this place anyways. The dryads come, we throw out a little diplomacy. We let them know we're smashing it when she comes back and when she tells us the answer. Not before.
Alright.
Okay, Jaime, I was gonna ask to roll deception, but I'm not even lying to her. We will watch it while she's gone. Once she gets back, meh.
My, how kind.
Oh, honey, it's not a problem. I've been on a walkabout for the last for the last 2 years. The way I see it, all of us have to get away from our cauldrons sometimes.
Who knows? Maybe if everything is still in one piece and I come back, I can even throw a soul coin your way. Just as an extra thank you.
I just kind of smile and nod about it. I'm totally acting like her best friend, girly friend, witch friend. Girl boss, go slay.
Go get your makeover.
All right, and with that, she what is this spell called? I don't actually see mention of what spell she casts. Is it here? Oh, yes. She casts a spell and plane shifts into the ethereal plane.
Oh, so probably like etherealness?
Yep. And she's on her way to the Wandering Emporium.
The moment she's gone, I turn and look, and I feel comfortable that she's gone. I turn and look at Gilwyn and say, we should probably try to talk to the Dryads and anything else here preemptively, because she just let us know they don't want to serve her in this forest. So we should talk to them and let them know we're here to free them. And I stand by my statement, we should liberate the forest.
Yeah, I'll start calling out to him in Druidic.
My advice is maybe go away from the house a little bit.
Yeah. Gilman doesn't want to be around that house anyway. He's already visibly uneasy in the forest itself.
I give you bardic inspiration and a good old-fashioned guidance, so that you have both on you for when you go out there and you try to roll persuasion and talk to these guys.
Okay.
But I am, being that I'm a witch myself, I am probably not going to be helpful. You'll probably have disadvantage to talk to them as long as I'm in your presence.
Okay.
So.
And the plan with the hag is we're gonna wait for her to get back, do what she
get the information from her, and then
search the place essentially.
Then liberate the place with her here, not with her gone.
Gotcha.
I would love to do it with her gone, but we need that information.
Yeah.
And frankly, I don't want her as an enemy. You know me, I go out of my way to turn every person we encounter into an ally. I would love it if we could have her join Mad Maggie. So I don't know, maybe in the middle of beating her ass and burning this forest to the ground, or, you know, liberating this forest, however we do it, maybe,
she meets with her friend Mad Maggie somewhere?
Maybe we tell her she meets up with Mad Maggie, goes and tells Maggie of her misery. Tell Maggie it's a gift that we're sending to her is this woman's misery. And Maggie can then take this night hag, Ruth, under her wing, and then they have their own little coven and everything's going fine. But if not, I have no problem stepping on this person's face. I hope her look, man, this is the back end of a fetch quest. I'm hoping she's not a powerful NPC, okay? That's what I'm trying to say. I don't know how powerful she is. I'm hoping she's not as powerful as that CR11 gal we just encountered.
Okay. Yeah, so I would go off a ways from the house before I tried to start communicating with Dryads, but I would call out to them in Druidic.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me persuasion.
skills. $22.
Okay. Two cursed dryads enter the clearing, and behind them meanders a large undead tree.
Did you take anybody else from the party with you, or am I the only one that stayed behind, or did you go alone?
As far as I know, I went alone.
Did you want anybody to come with you?
Anybody who would have wanted to come, I wasn't gonna force this, but I also wasn't gonna go so far away that I would be totally screwed.
Vic, do you go with them?
Yes.
Stay with me. You go with them? Okay, Druzzl, do you go with them, or do you stay with me?
I'd stay.
Okay.
Okay,
I was just curious who was there.
fair enough.
I would tell, continuing in Druidic, I would tell them that my party and I are here to liberate the forest. And wait for their reaction.
What do you mean, liberate?
Return it to its former way.
Out of game, Gilly. What do you mean liberate? They might be asking, do you mean burn the place down, or try to take it back to the Feywild? Because if you say try to take it back to the Feywild, they're gonna be like, do you have that kind of power?
Well, that's a good point.
It could also liberate could also mean, kill Ruth. That might be all they want is Ruth gone. They might be happy with the force like it is now. Who knows?
Yeah, I would say liberate it from the clutches of the hag. And hopefully restore some of the life to it.
Restore some of the green to it?
Yeah.
You conspire against her.
I need to answer carefully. I seek redemption for the woods.
It's not so what you say is that you're not specifically conspiring against her. You care more about the state of the wood than you do about her.
Yeah.
That's how you word it?
Yeah.
Okay, I was sitting here curious what you were going to say. So.
It has been centuries since anyone has tried.
I missed a lot of what happened. I lost audio, it just came back.
Oh, she replied that it's been centuries since it's been tried.
Most don't care about us. Why do you?
I took an oath long ago to protect nature the way it is. And I have had many groves of dryads as people that I care for.
So basically you just explain you're a druid?
Yeah. I'm a druid, and I want to see nature restored.
And what is it you want from us?
Your assistance when the time comes, if it's necessary.
Otherwise, I think we were just asking for their patience, weren't we? Because she's worried they're going to attack while she's gone. So specifically, we were going out there to be like, give us patience.
Yeah, your patience and possibly your assistance if you would give it when the time comes.
With the hag gone, this is the perfect time to strike. You would have us wait.
She has something important that we need.
I see.
And she agreed to give it to us when she returned.
We see.
I like that you were just straight up honest with them too. Like all of the shit that Boston does to be manipulative and lie when he's communicating, and you were like, "No, here's the deal."
Hey.
Try to roll me persuasion again.
Sure. Oof, I'm gonna add the D4. No, what was it?
You have guidance and you have bardic inspiration of a D6, so you can put a D6 and a D4 on that.
How do I roll? Can I roll them both at the same time?
I don't think so.
I'm just gonna roll them both though. 1 and 4 for a 20.
Aha, dirty 20.
Very well. We will wait.
Thank you. I appreciate your cooperation.
Don't make us regret it.
Gilman would bow in acceptance of the underhanded threat, essentially.
The dryads and, strangely enough, the tree as well also bow. When the tree bows, the skeleton of a dead gnome falls out of a cavity from its trunk.
Oh god.
Oh god.
It has on its head a witch's hat and is holding a stick.
I want the hat and the stick. Bring me the hat and the stick.
You can have the hat. I want the stick.
Yeah, once it was appropriate to do so, I would go investigate.
Okay. The hat is a classic witch's hat. Wide brim,
totally
cone
want the
top.
hat.
Has a buckle in the front.
Okay.
The stick, which is actually not a stick. It just looked like that from afar. The way that it's shaped and curated, it actually looks more like a wand.
A wand.
Oh.
And
I don't think you can use a wand, Fick.
Yeah, I don't want it.
Oh, Fick is disappointed.
No.
I want it.
Yeah, I would take them.
Okay. And just leave the skeleton there.
I don't know what to do with the skeleton. Maybe cast Druidcraft to see if I can give it a semblance of a burial.
That works. Okay, so Druidcraft, plants come up and pull the skeleton into the ground.
Yeah.
That's not creepy at all.
No, not at all.
Okay. So the Dryads promise to not bother the cave while you're watching it.
Excellent. Yeah, that's kind of what I see too.
When did we join Pokemon?
That is a Digimon, sir.
Yeah.
I didn't watch any of them, so I wouldn't know.
I would return to the cave and report that the Dryads have agreed to at least be patient with us and show him what I found on that corpse.
Ooh, hat. It's a very nice hat. I like witches' hats. I feel metagamey doing this detect magic on this, but I feel like the corpse like gave up loot that we would have got if we'd had to fight the guys. So like, I kind of want to like, I mean, because this is obviously like a wand, and this is probably a magic hat, and so like I kind of want to, but I just don't feel justified in actually casting detect magic on them, if that makes sense. It was a random hat and a random wand. So I guess for the moment they will just go directly into my bag.
Okay.
I'll think, oh, that's a cool looking wand. Do we even, besides me, do we have anybody in the party that can use a wand? I mean, everybody can, specifically for your warlock spells.
I mean, I technically can for a spellcasting focus as a druid.
You can use a wand?
Uh-huh.
I thought druids have to use druid in their focuses. They have to use specific, like sprigs and twigs.
Yeah, you may be right.
But I mean, that's something we can look at later. It's not relevant.
Yeah.
But wands are designed for wizards and warlocks because they have an arcane focus wand. But other than wizards and warlocks, I really don't know who else can use them off the top of my head.
If it's made of you,
everybody can use. Let me rephrase. Everybody can use wands. Wizards and warlocks can use them as focuses.
if it was specifically you, a yew wand or a sprig of mistletoe as the component for druid spells. So you can, yeah. It just says such as, so if I could,
So
justify it well enough.
If the wand is made of something natural, a druid can use it too.
Yeah.
Got it. Cool. Then yeah, we watch her hovel till she gets back.
Okay.
And hopefully this isn't an Atlas situation.
No. It takes about 3 hours, but eventually she does come back. And she pops out of the aether.
So how is the Emporium?
Oh, I needed that. Oh, I feel 300 years younger.
Excellent.
You're simply glowing.
That's what we want to hear. That's what we want to hear. Like I said, yes, Queen, slay. But as to your end of the bargain, the house has been kept intact.
So I see. Not even a post out of place. You have my gratitude. For your efforts. She holds out, or she opens up a little coin purse and pulls out a soul coin. and offers it to Felix.
As she reaches out with it, I kind of hold my hand out like I'm going to grab it, but instead hold my hand pointed just sort of up. And I say, I dare not risk take that which is given, for fear it be used to manipulate the payment of what was originally offered. While I would love to take this coin as the tip you intended it to be when you spoke of it before, first, the deal must be complete. Tell us, how do we break Druzzl's deal?
Your caution is wise. I suppose I wouldn't say it's unfounded. I've never broken a deal before. But I know there are others that would have twisted their words. So I applaud you for your caution. As far as, Druzzl goes, all she has to do is simply drink the blood of a titan, and it'll free her from her pact.
I say a word which is said almost like a swear word, but all that comes out of my mouth is Uldrak.
Hmm?
I say, I thank you, and I reach out and take the coin that she originally offered. And I turn around and walk away as though I'm leaving the place. And as I get to what would be like the door, or the archway, or the whatever of her little hovel, I cast Druidcraft and I knock a stump out of place, a post out of place. And it's literally just a funk. And then I turn around and look back over my shoulder and say, with our deal complete, I'm afraid we have other matters we must now attend to.
She looks at this, or she looks at the post, looks at you, looks at the post, looks at you. And what business would that be? I don't suppose you're wanting to purchase one of my potions.
Oh, of course, this would be the game's potion vendor, too. Guys, we're about to fuck over the game's potion vendor. Oh my god, Boston hesitates.
Freezes in his fucking trap.
Yelling.
I mean, we could always try the diplomatic route with her since we have.
Oh, I was already going to be diplomatic. I was just going to be intimidating.
Fair.
I say, that is a business I wish I knew you were into well before we had been engaged. Well before we had found other employment. Unfortunately, business is business, and as much as I would love to make deals on coins, I'm going to make it plain and simple. And out of game Jaime, I give her the Wild West showdown, get out of town by sunset sort of speech. But I tell her, like, go to Mad Maggie's, give this up. And if I see her hesitate, like, who the fuck are you to say this to me? I would say, you just came from Mahadi's Emporium. I am certain you heard of us. We are discussed there. We are employed there, you know? Before that even, being such as you, being a magical being, reaching out into the universe with your wonderful scrying powers and whatnot, like, you've heard of us. I really do not want to get my hands dirty when we have had such great and wonderful interactions thus far. I would love to continue our work. I just need you to do it elsewhere.
Could you please roll intimidate for me?
Given that I threw out the who we are story, I'm gonna ask. It's not necessarily required because maybe she's not scared of our legend. But can I roll that with advantage?
I'll allow it.
Nat 19 for a 27.
I
think so.
Oh no.
Bless you.
She narrows her eyes and stares at you through the squinting. I see.
Her insight's probably high enough to know that this is killing Boston. He's got to behave this way. He's not happy that he has to behave this way. Like, this was good business. And he didn't break a deal, technically. He did exactly what he said he was going to, but then immediately soured relations afterwards. Like, if her insight's any good, she knows he's unhappy with this decision. But that he is got this sort of stoic, like, I'm putting my foot down. Gilly, mute your mic.
Mute my mic.
I was telling you to mute your mic.
Okay.
It'd be a pain to move, I suppose.
Take that pain and share it with Mad Maggie at Fort Knucklebone. She will offer you respite, and amongst our kind, it is always good to find those that are like-minded. No hag, no witch, no warlock should practice alone. And as I say that, I'd probably like hold a hand out and hope that like Gilwyn and Fick or Druzzl or anybody who would like that are warlocks and members of my coven would like step up beside me as I say it.
As disgusted as I've been this whole time, I would.
Same. So yeah, I'm effectively trying to roll away from intimidation towards persuasion. Like, find a friend in Mad Maggie. Tell her your misery and the pain at the moving.
Be well. I'll leave. But I put so much effort in curating beautiful.
Your efforts have created a biome unlike any found elsewhere in the cosmos. I will give you that much.
Until we meet again.
Yeah, I'd nod to her. Like, I don't even try to be hostile. Like I said, I'm trying to like drift towards persuasion. It's a look, you're bad for business, you gotta go kind of mentality. So I try to be as friendly as possible once she's agreed to leave. Till we meet again. Does she etherealness out?
Yep.
I give it a moment because etherealness, you enter the ethereal plane and you're still aware of what's happening on the physical plane. So I like wait a moment to give her a chance to actually leave, and then I turn to Druzzl, or not to Druzzl, but to Gilwyn and say, you know, I think I just made an enemy.
I don't know if I'd call her an enemy.
Boston, straight up, I think I just made my first enemy. Boston doesn't call anyone else an enemy.
No. And even then, I think it's a. We could probably win her back to our side. You could probably win her back to your side.
Maybe, but she is a hag, and the way I see it is hag circles and covens, usually there's a little bit of backstabbing and betraying that goes around anyways.
Oh, yeah.
So but that's how I've done my turn, now it's her turn. At any point, she might agree. If she goes to Mad Maggie, she's on our side, because Mad Maggie's on our side. But
well, Mad Maggie's on Mad Maggie's side, but
which is coincidentally and conveniently happens to be our side.
Yeah. And I feel like, but don't all hags have a limited ability to communicate with each other? Anyway,
just with the other members of their just with their sisters.
Oh, okay. So we just essentially made a hag coven. Excellent.
If Mad Maggie accepts her.
Mm-hmm.
Which we know Mad Maggie will accept her pain about this whole situation, but who knows?
Yeah.
In the meantime, she's gone. As soon as she's gone, I step outside, I look at Gil and say, let them know they can smash this place.
Yeah, I'd called back out to those that met me in Druidic. And tell them she's gone.
Okay.
When we do that, I think we should just walk out of the forest, go and let them take the place back over. But as we walk out, I don't think we should follow the maze. I think we should cast Druidcraft as we go, and basically create a path, a road, straight out of the thing back to where your sword is planted. And us casting Druidcraft, I think we need to do Druidcraft and Thaumaturgy the same way we did before to do the whole miracle reawakening of the wood, so to speak, to add green back specifically to the path, because green grows, So if we create a path that cuts all the way through half of this place, it'll grow out from there.
Oh, really?
That's sort of my mentality on it.
Yeah, if I had it prepared, I would start even casting lesser restoration.
I don't think I have access to plant growth, or I'd throw that one out. But I can, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 slots I can cast Remove Curse on as I'm walking out. So. Long and short is, the roleplay is we can add green back in the magic as we walk out of this place, and we just let nature claim itself back over.
Yeah, however long it really took me, even if I had to wait to swap spells out, but...
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think we need to swap spells out. I'm thinking we walk out, and the thing is yes, this is an Avernus. A forest doesn't normally grow in Avernus, but we have to let the forest do what forests do, the natural kind of has to do its thing. The whole thing is we freed it from tyranny. Let's let it do its thing.
I agree.
If they want more from us, if the forest wants more from us, it'll ask.
Yeah.
And I think we should name it like we renamed the hill. We renamed Harriman's Hill to Stone Hill. I don't know that we should call this Stone Wood, but maybe something to do with Gilwyn, to do with or Beast or the Elemental that we did this for, or something. I don't know.
Don't they call thickets of woods thorns? Thorns?
Yeah, this is already called the bone bramble. So
Bone bramble. How about the ram's thorn?
oh, because that was your character. That's your character's last name.
Yeah.
I love it. As we're going out, I'm using Druidcraft Shape Earth, all the fun stuff that I need to do to untangle the bramble and creating iconography of rams within it.
Yeah.
So that people know its name on sight. But yeah. Do they try to stop us from leaving the forest?
No. In fact,
Do they come?
in fact, as soon as you say that it's okay to smash it, a swarm of spirits, not just the two that you saw, descend upon the hovel and just start ripping everything apart.
Yeah, I see the hovel and the bone bramble and all turning into its own different kind of thicket. Even if we carve a perfect road out of here, Gilwyn, it's going to be gone tomorrow.
Yeah. I see that happening too.
Yeah, years, decades, and centuries of anger and frustration is being let out all at once.
Yeah, we need to get out of here as quick as possible.
Yeah. They may forget we actually helped them. Nature has a tendency of being uncaring.
1,000 years from now, the only thing those trees will remember will not be us, but it'll be the feeling of the treant in your sword.
Agreed.
Because before all of it happened, they felt that. And reached out to that. So cool. When we get out of the woods, I look right at Uldrak and I go, "You son of a gun."
What? What'd I do?
It's not what you did, it's what you're gonna do.
Huh?
I think it's time we made you a real boy again. And I holler out to the driver of our vehicle, Donald, Gilwyn, whoever it is, and I say, "Take us back to Krull at Arkhan's Tower. Because we have to turn Uldrak back into a Titan, and then get his blood,
My what?
to then give it to, oh yeah, you gotta have a blood bond with the girl I was flirting with for you.
Wait, you're
It's
what?
what's gonna... Well, yeah, your blood. If she tastes your blood, it breaks her. You know, it's magic. Don't worry about it. You know what it's like. Magic is always crazy. The crazy magic down here is that elemental giant needs some of your elemental giant blood. And if she gets some of your elemental giant blood, not enough to hurt you, but maybe enough to flirt with you, she will be free. But lucky you, we need to get you to be a real boy again. So yeah, out of game, like my mentality is, I say, we got to go back to the tower. You get to be a real boy again. We got to go back to the tower. So literally, we just drove in a circle. We went from the tower to the zapper to the bramble back to the tower. Because we need the reliquary or whatever the shit is that he was originally going to trade the orb for.
Yep, that's about the long and short of it.
We have the last piece of the fetch quest.
Which was to go where we were already going to begin with.
Yep.
Convenient.
Isn't it?
I think that's probably a good place to wrap, guys. With us having gotten literally nowhere this session. With next session starting exactly where this session started.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I mean,
3 steps to the left.
Yeah.
All I'm saying.
I mean,
That
you
is
did-
wild to me.
You did get some things out of it.
It's true. We got a lot of roleplay out of it, and then we got the hat and the wand. Jaime, I assume there's an hour of travel time at some point.
Yep.
What are the hat and the wand?
The hat is a hat of disguise.
Nice. Don't need it, but love it. I already have one.
The wand is a wand of the war mage. +1.
Oh, so it's a +1 wand. War mage wands are literally just there's a +1 and a +2 and a +3. So that's awesome. Again, I don't need it. My leveling item is a +2 already. But cool. Anybody want a hat of disguise? Vic, do you want a hat of disguise?
No.
No? Okay,
I'm not on my computer at the moment, but I think I have something similar.
no, all you have is your porcelain mask that you change. Hat of disguise allows you to cast the spell Disguise Self at will.
I must have it on another character. One of my characters has something similar to it.
If you don't want, if you want it, my offer is that Thick take it. I don't know about the rest of the party, but with Thick being the rogue, it's a great one.
I'll take it.
But yeah, I was about to say, because if not, everybody else should have a fair dibs on it. Boston doesn't need it. Disguise Self's a first level spell. I can cast that a lot.
Yeah.
Druzzl hasn't talked in a while. Do you have any opinion on the War Mage wand or the hat?
Nope.
Okay. Then yeah, enjoy the hat, good sir.
Thank you. Can someone put it in my inventory? Like I said, I'm not at my computer.
It's not even currently in my inventory.
I can do so.
I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to put just the wand of the War Mage one in mine, Jaime.
Very well.
Or also if you can find the Orb of Dragonkind and put it in my inventory, because it's currently not.
I can do that.
Jaime, I don't know how we started on one fetch quest chain, and in the end we're going to end up completing both of them when the game is only designed for us to do one. But
You know exactly how that happened.
I have to ask. Because we're doing this other side round of fetch quests, did we level yet?
Not yet.
Alright, I had to ask. Yeah, I don't know about anybody else. I think that's a good spot to wrap, though, with us. Yeah, you're going to be a real bullet. Scene.
I'm a real boy.
Alright, items have been placed.
Great.